There's a man everyone calls strong. Strong at the gym, strong at work, strong for everyone else. But no one sees him at night, when asking for help feels like weakness, and holding everything together is slowly destroying him. We've been sold a version of strength that looks impressive on the outside and is killing men quietly on the inside. And the worst part? Most men defend this lie even as it destroys them. If being strong means never needing, never resting, never breaking, then strength isn't power, it's a prison. These 7 truths about strength will make you uncomfortable, but if you're honest enough to hear them, they might save your life. There's a man at the gym lifting twice his body weight. Everyone watches, impressed by his strength. But nobody sees him at home, unable to ask his partner for emotional support, because that feels weak. There's a man at the office who never misses a deadline, never complains, never shows stress. His boss calls him the strongest guy on the team. But nobody sees him alone at night, medicating anxiety with alcohol, because admitting he's struggling feels like failure. We've been sold a version of strength that's killing us. And the worst part is, we're so invested in the lie that we defend it even as it destroys us. This channel is for the man who stayed strong when no one noticed. The man who carried responsibility quietly and slowly disappeared. Here, strength is questioned, silence is exposed, and the cost of being the strong one is finally spoken out loud. These 7 truths about strength will make you uncomfortable. They'll challenge everything you've been taught about what it means to be strong. And if you're honest enough to hear them, they might save your life. Truth 1. Strength without vulnerability is just armored weakness. Real strength isn't refusing to break. It's breaking and choosing to be seen anyway. It's admitting I'm struggling, I'm scared, I don't have the answers, while still moving forward.
The man who never shows vulnerability isn't strong, he's terrified. Terrified of being seen as weak, terrified of being rejected, terrified of discovering that without the armor, he's nothing. So he performs in vulnerability and calls it strength. But here's what that performance costs. It costs connection, because you can't be truly known through armor. It costs intimacy, because vulnerability is the currency of depth. It costs mental health, because pretending you're fine while dying inside isn't strength, it's slow suicide. Real strength is saying, I need help, and meaning it. Real strength is crying when you need to cry, instead of swallowing it until it turns into rage. Real strength is admitting your limits instead of pretending you don't have any. The strongest men aren't the ones who never break. They're the ones who break honestly and rebuild themselves without shame. Truth 2. The performance of strength is more exhausting than actual weakness. Think about how much energy it takes to pretend you're always fine, to monitor every expression, to control every emotion, to perform stability when you're barely holding on. That performance is draining you more than the actual problems you're facing. The problems are real, but temporary. The performance is constant and endless. And most men don't realize they're more exhausted from pretending to be strong than they would be from just being human. You see this in men who collapse the moment they're alone, who hold it together all day and then drink themselves numb at night, who smile through work and then rage at their families. Not because they're weak, but because the performance finally cracks and everything they've been suppressing floods out. If being strong requires you to never rest, never feel, never need anything, you're not strong. You're just really good at suffering in silence, and there's nothing admirable about that. Truth 3. Strength that isolates isn't strength, it's self-destruction. We glorify the lone wolf, the self-made man, the guy who needs nothing from anyone, and we call that strength. But it's not strength, it's just fear with better marketing. Real strength is building connections deep enough that you can lean on them when you need to. Real strength is creating a life where asking for help doesn't feel like failure. Real strength is understanding that humans are relational creatures, and pretending you're not doesn't make you strong, it makes you isolated. The man who refuses all help, who carries everything alone, who prides himself on needing nobody, he's not demonstrating strength. He's demonstrating terror of dependency, and that terror will eventually destroy him. Because here's the truth nobody wants to admit. You can't actually do it all alone. The lone wolf dies alone. The self-made man is a myth, and the guy who needs nothing from anyone is lying to himself and everyone else. Sustainable strength is relational. It's built in community, maintained through connection, and expressed through the courage to both give and receive support. Truth 4. Your body keeps score even when your mind pretends you're fine. You can convince yourself you're strong. You can perform resilience. You can push through exhaustion and call it discipline. But your body knows the truth. The chronic tension in your shoulders, that's not from bad posture. The insomnia, that's not just stress. The digestive issues, the headaches, the constant fatigue, those aren't random. That's your body trying to feel what your mind won't allow. You think you're being strong by pushing through pain, by ignoring warning signs, by treating your body like a machine that should just work. But your body isn't a machine. It's a living system that will break down when you refuse to listen to it. And here's what makes this brutal. The breakdown doesn't announce itself. It accumulates quietly until one day you can't get out of bed, can't think clearly, can't function.
And you're confused because you were fine yesterday. But you weren't fine yesterday. You've been not fine for months, maybe years. You just got really good at ignoring it, and your body waited until it couldn't compensate anymore. Real strength is listening to your body before it forces you to stop. Real strength is rest when you need rest. Real strength is treating yourself like you'd treat someone you actually cared about. Truth 5. Strength doesn't mean never needing. It means knowing what you need and pursuing it honestly. The man who pretends he needs nothing isn't strong. He's just disconnected from himself. Real strength is recognizing I need rest, I need support, I need connection, I need help, and pursuing those needs without shame. Most men were taught that needing is weakness, that real men are self-sufficient, that asking for anything makes you less of a man. So they buried their needs so deep they forgot they had them. But needs don't disappear when you ignore them. They just go underground and sabotage you from the inside. The need for rest becomes chronic exhaustion. The need for connection becomes isolation. The need for emotional support becomes addiction or rage. You're not strong because you need nothing. You're just really good at lying to yourself about what you need. And that lie is costing you everything. Real strength is brutal honesty about what you actually require to function well. It's saying, I need 8 hours of sleep. I need genuine connection. I need help with this, and meaning it. Your needs aren't weakness. Your denial of them is. Truth 6. Strength without rest is just burning out in slow motion. You think pushing through exhaustion is discipline. You think never stopping is dedication. You think rest is for the weak. But here's the reality. Every system requires recovery. Athletes train hard and rest harder because they know recovery is where growth happens.
But you treat your life like an endurance event with no finish line and wonder why you're falling apart. Rest isn't reward for productivity. Rest is requirement for sustainability. And if you can't rest without guilt, if you can't stop without feeling like you're failing, you don't have a strength problem, you have a fear problem. You're afraid that if you stop moving, you'll discover you're not enough. You're afraid that if you rest, everything will fall apart. You're afraid that your value is conditional on your output. So you keep grinding, keep pushing, keep performing strength, while slowly destroying yourself. And you call that discipline, when it's really just terror of being human. Real strength is knowing when to stop. It's understanding that recovery isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's building a life sustainable enough that you don't have to choose between success and sanity. Truth 7. The strongest thing you can do is admit you're not as strong as you pretend to be. This is the truth that will save you or break you, depending on whether you're ready to hear it. The performance of strength is a trap. The moment you start pretending you're stronger than you are, you lock yourself into a lie you have to maintain forever. And maintaining that lie becomes more important than living honestly. You can't show struggle because that contradicts the image. You can't ask for help because that breaks the character. You can't admit limits because that shatters the myth. So you perform and perform and perform until you don't know who you actually are anymore, until the performance becomes your identity, until you're so committed to the lie that telling the truth feels like dying. But here's what nobody tells you. The moment you stop pretending to be stronger than you are is the moment real strength begins. Not the performance of strength, actual strength. The kind that doesn't require you to destroy yourself to prove you're capable.
Admitting I'm not as strong as I've been pretending is the bravest thing you can do, because it means you're choosing truth over image. You're choosing honesty over performance. You're choosing to be human over being invincible. And being human, fully human, with all your limits and needs and struggles, that's the only sustainable way to live. The hero's journey isn't about becoming invincible. It's about becoming honest. And honesty requires admitting when the armor is too heavy, when the performance is exhausting you, when strength has become a prison instead of power. These 7 truths aren't comfortable. They challenge everything you've been taught about what strong men do. But comfort isn't the goal. Truth is. And the truth is, the version of strength you've been sold is killing you. Real strength doesn't look like never breaking. It looks like breaking honestly and rebuilding without shame. It looks like asking for help when you need it. It looks like resting when you're tired. It looks like admitting your limits. It looks like being human. And being human